to the Wood, Wire, and Watts podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Adam.
I'm Topher.
Today we're going to be talking about teaching private lessons and everything that goes with it. So we will have some special guests later on. We're going to have our weekly Riff challenge and a couple more segments for you. So let's just jump right into it. Let's talk this week about what new toys are we getting. Like, I know there's some new Gear Day stuff coming. Does anybody want to? Topher wants to talk about it.
So, from our episode 0, I was talking about how I want that Attack Decay from Electro-Harmonix, and so I kept watching more videos, and I was like, I need it. So I found a used one, and I have that now.
He's been watching his phone all day for the tracking number.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Nice. So hopefully we can talk about that a little bit next time, and you can give a mini review for us.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You got anything cool coming?
I don't have anything coming, but I am definitely going to pick up the new Earthquaker fuzz when as soon as I can.
Nice.
And I did actually get my Maestro phase shifter fixed finally. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that is not new. That is older than any of us.
Combined, yeah, definitely looks to be. Yeah. So I got my new pickup. Not super exciting. New pickup coming for the telly. I got a Lawler Special T coming, so that'll be cool. Fender Player Series. So I'm trying to soup it up.
It's a special T.
So what Lawler? What is that a brand? Or?
So yeah, Lawler is one of the boutique brands. Lawler, Fralin, who else is in that category? They're not small. I don't think they're 3 dudes hand wiring things, okay. But they're
those are the two that I think of.
Yeah. They are smaller, but they're still supposed to be higher, much higher quality. They're really reasonably priced considering not a whole lot. $10 more than Seymour Duncan or DiMarzio or Lace. Oh, we got yeah.
Pickups are it's not a thing I've ever I mean, those I'm curious to hear it, but I've just never done a lot with changing pickups out or anything.
I like to change pickups out. Also, I'm a Seymour Duncan fanboy. That Les Paul I have, the neck pickup of a Les Paul to me, the SH2 Jazz, is that sound. So that thing's always been perfect. But yeah, no, I switch out everything I get.
Yeah. No, that Lace one is only the first and only one I've ever switched out, and I'm happy with it. But as far as I don't care what sound I have.
So I did notice that Alnico 2s do not feel like I would expect pickups to. So that's been something that's bothered me at the Telecaster I have. So if I probably don't care about the brand so much.
It's the magnets.
Yeah. Or what level of output, because
that makes a huge difference.
I'm not a good enough guitar player to have a super clean sounding telly, so if I get the mid bumps in them, I can kind of hide behind some of those sounds, and it's kind of nice.
I feel
yeah. Oh man. So yeah, jumping right in, we're gonna do our riff challenge. You want to introduce this?
Sure. So we're gonna go with that same idea of not the standard riff challenge idea. We don't want to hear, your best Metallica rip. So this is the idea of what if the band Nirvana had done the theme song or the soundtrack for the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Here we go. So this is Adam's going first. Commentary from our local judge.
I despise Nirvana.
Really?
I do not like Nirvana.
I'm not a Nirvana fan either, but yeah.
So that was you have to have at least one half step chord part.
Yeah.
And so it's got to have that half step movement somewhere, and it's got to be kind of fizzy distortion. And there's got to be a chorus or phaser, like sorry, a chorus. There's got to be like a really mild chorus effect on the lead, just on the lead part.
Yep. I dig it.
I can feel though the that piratey feel to it.
Yeah, it wasn't the theme from the movie, but it may have melodically been dissimilar enough that I don't get in trouble.
Right.
I'm kind of a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan. So I think it's number 3, the one where they do like the intro scene where they're like hanging all the pirates.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
I just YouTubed like Pirates of the Caribbean theme and listened to it a couple times, and I was like, let's sort of play it, but not play it enough to make anybody mad.
Yeah.
Yep, that's kind of where I was going with mine too. Yeah, it's Klaus Baudel and Hans Zimmer, by the way. So, yeah, I'm a big Hans Zimmer fan. So, all right. I think you got me beat this week, though.
All right, let's see what you got.
Mine was not that great. I might have stolen a little bit more from Nirvana that this will get flagged by copyright.
It does have that Nirvana feel to it, and it does have the pirate, that pirate.
The melody was very like old pirate song.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
But it kind of trailed out. Nothing was going on at the end there. What were you doing at the end?
I couldn't think of anything else.
That's why I'm not doing these.
I felt like it would be like if Kurt Cobain was like gonna play like a piratey guitar solo over but he was playing it while the music behind him was playing in the elevator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought of it. I thought of it more as like the rest of Nirvana is playing the correct song, and Kurt got a little.
It's been
feisty
drinking too much rum.
You ever heard that? There's the Lonely Island song where Tale of Captain Jack Sparrow, whatever. Like
yes.
What's his name? What's the guy's name? Michael Bolton.
Michael Bolton does it.
Michael Bolton had just seen the Pirates of the Caribbean, so like they were trying to play a rap song. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Sorry, I think you actually do have it. just for that fact. Sorry,
Topher. Oh, we're not friends anymore.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I mean, but there's people in a comment section that might say other.
They might.
So.
If you guys all want to go find Topher online after this and tell him how much you
Topher Beyer.
dislike him.
No, at Beyer Topher.
At Beyer Topher? Uh-huh. I don't know any of my tags. Usually I have to Google myself to find what my tags are.
It's not this kind of show, dude.
I'm not typing you into Google ever again, let me tell you.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along. I guess that takes us right into our main segment.
All right. Hey, guys. This is Amy and Isaiah from Fort Wayne Piano and Guitar. And we are going to be talking to them about private lessons and teaching and working with students and things of that nature. So guys, could you both tell me a little bit about how you got your start in music and like what, interested you, what instruments you played, things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to go first, Amy, or do you want me to go?
You go.
Okay, yeah. So I got my start in music back when I was around 8. There was a local music store in town called Studio One, and my brother worked there. My older brother worked there, and I would go over there and hang out with him all the time. And eventually, I got old enough. I was about 8 years old, and I got guitar lessons with Mike Davis there. And then around, age 11, I switched to drums, and then I kind of stuck with that for the better part of middle school and high school. And then when I went to college, I picked up guitar again because I didn't have my drum set with me. I couldn't take it to my dorm. And so I picked that up again, and then yeah.
And you've been playing both ever since.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty dope.
So sort of how it all began anyway.
Yeah. And then I started probably in elementary school in 5th grade. We didn't have a music program, but the middle school person would come and do band with a few 5th graders after their school got out. And so I started on clarinet and just continued that and kind of fell in love with music and performing. And then I started teaching actually my senior year for, I think it was $5 a half hour, like to the freshmen and middle school kids, I think.
Awesome. Was that teaching clarinet then?
Clarinet. We would do just like basics because I could play a little bit of flute, and you know how this was pre-COVID times, but every event we would share instruments. So we would learn the basics of everything. And so, yeah, there's a few things that I got to do, and then I went to school for music. So, continued lessons into there. My professors would get emails about students wanting lessons. And so they would, funnel it to their students. And then, came to Fort Wayne, and I worked at a nonprofit. So I needed some more funding and decided to start teaching lessons again, and started small, built up the studio. And then eventually I started an LLC. Cool. And have been bringing in a few lesson teachers over the years. Isaiah does our drum and guitar studio. I've had other guitar teachers come in, and we just kind of been doing, teaching's kind of comes with the territory of music, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Not to jump in too much, but I just for our viewership, you guys are also in a band, is that right? I hear.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Paper Heart.
Yes, we are both members of the Paper Heart.
Yeah, we also have one of the Paper Heart's mascots named Bulbasaur.
Yes.
I feel like I've heard of them.
A little cockatiel. And he joins us in practice sometimes, a little too loud. So sometimes he hangs out in the other room, but he's a buddy.
Shameless plugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And I end up talking more about my pet instead. So sorry.
Okay, it's easy to do that. The cats aren't in sight.
Bulbasaur's rat. Dude, every time your cat comes around, like which she hasn't today, but when we first did this, I could not keep my eyes off the cat.
It's just drifting. So next question, I guess. What for you both? What point did you decide to? Well, you kind of answered that, but to start teaching lessons. When you were coming up, did you have any certain music teachers or lessons that kind of inspired you to go that way?
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of different musicians start at different times in their life. Like I got to teach really young, but I had my band teacher, Miss Christic, was the first one who told me that I could teach lessons way back when. Probably it was into a later middle school. This sounds really juvenile, but I used to have this crazy curly hair, and so did my music teacher. And you know how you take those weird tests that tell you what you should be like as a job? I mean, this was like the early 2000s. So I took it, and I was supposed to be like a medical examiner, radiologist or something like that. And then someone said to me, "You look like Miss Christic. You should do what Miss Christic does. You should be a music teacher." And that was like the first time that I'd ever thought about like, oh, like people do this kind of forever, like not just at school,
Mm-hmm.
So into high school and stuff, I mean, we had a really good relationship with her, and my family was band. So, and I did choir too. So I kind of got wrapped up into it, and that took up my life. So that's kind of, it never stopped.
Yeah. So she was a super big influence on that.
Oh yeah, she really was. Cause you think everyone tells you what you're supposed to be kind of, and what you're supposed to do. And then that was something completely different than what anyone had really told me before.
Right on.
So
yeah.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, I was hanging out in a music store mostly when I was younger. So I would be like walking around in the back, and they had the owner's kids had like a video game system set up back there. And so I would mostly be hanging out back there and watching that most of the time. But when I would get bored of doing that, I would be walking around the studio and I would hang out with like the guitar lesson, watch people give lessons. And so, I mean, I've seen my brother give 1.5 million guitar lessons. And so he would probably be the biggest influence, I would think, for me going into teaching and just cool. For really getting my start into music in general. His name's Ben. I haven't mentioned his name yet. His name's Ben Latch. And then I guess Mike Davis would be the other guy who was the owner of the studio. He's the first guy who really taught me guitar and stuff. I don't think I practiced a lick at all. I was like 8 years old. I kind of I hung out there because he gave me like candies all the time. And so like, I'd be like, hey, you want a caramel? And I'd be like, yeah, dude. And then he'd like give me a free t-shirt like every other visit and stuff. Cause so cool. Like I was such a small kid growing up. He like ordered a bunch of like the same size t-shirts that nobody ever bought. And so he just was like giving them to me. Anyway. So he was super cool. Really cool guy to hang out with. And then my drum teacher, Steve, his name was Steve C. He really taught me a lot. And I really see that through my own teaching today. A lot of the habits and things that he showed me and he taught me, I remember and I pull back on. And it's such a good resource to have. And so even, I think he passed away probably, 10 years ago now or something like that. But yeah, still to this day, he's such a great resource and such a great guy to hang out with. So yeah, those three I think are the big three for me for influences in music.
Cool. Very cool.
Bribing kids is always okay.
Yeah.
Just let you know.
Dude. I mean, it wasn't
caramels
so
and t-shirts. I mean, they need hooked. I hate to say it.
Yeah, dude. And it hooked me. And it really, and it also exposed me to, Elvis Presley and things like that, stuff that, a lot of 8-year-olds probably wouldn't really care about. And so I guess that's always good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of us just do music for merch and food. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, man. Some for beer. Not gonna lie about
that. So next question. Do you guys primarily teach out of your house, from a studio, remotely, or some other way?
Combination of all the above, basically.
Yeah, the above, man.
Yeah.
Mostly when last year it was mostly remote, obviously. And some students really found that was good for them and they like to stick to that. Most students really didn't like it. I don't personally like it. So I tend to shy away from that. But we drive to people's houses all over Fort Wayne. We have houses out southwest. We've gone to houses up north. We've had people even in Leo ask us that was a little too far. We were like,
we couldn't quite fit that because our schedule's, further away we get from the studio, the less people we can teach. So
yeah, but we always try to work with people with that because so if it's like a family, then we're like, well, if you have like another person in your family that wants lessons, then I can come up there, then I can stay for longer, and then it's kind of more worth everybody's time. But
yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I'd say right now we have a lot in studio. Now that we've come out of the pandemic, it's nice to have, people in front of you. We still have to social distance, but it's not a big deal. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine that teaching remote would be a little bit of a challenge. I would think just trying to make sure people could see like what, seeing you where chords are or how you're holding a stick or, just
and keeping
right.
Yeah.
Even just, gross and fine motor movement is really hard to correct or, assist online. And that's what a lot of instruments are is, finger, fine motor movement. And that technique is what I saw struggle the most when we were doing mostly virtual teaching. But then we kind of, that's the basis of everything we do is technique. So when they came back, it took really quickly for them to kind of pick it up.
Right.
So that was good. That stuff works. It just is like getting on a bike again versus like, maintaining is different than like a makeover when it comes to playing in it, if that makes sense. So
that totally makes sense.
You got to do some other stuff too virtually that we don't usually do because, screen sharing and digital platforms and things that you can interact with that are typically boring in lessons, we got to use some play along YouTube videos, which is fun. And you don't have to read music for some of those. So it's just another opportunity to excel that we kind of took advantage of that you don't usually get to do when you're sitting down with someone. So that was cool too. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're not at all.
Might be a silly question, but do you guys find that certain instruments are easier to teach virtually than others? Like, I'd imagine maybe like with the lag of a camera, maybe drums, you start to lose the frame rate at some point.
Yeah, man. Drums is like a definite no-go with virtual, I found. It's just, there's so much fine tuning with your hands and the hand positions and stuff. And, it'd be like, here, show me your hands. Like, for like 15 minutes of the lesson. And it's just like kind of worthless. And it's hands on. And so literally you'd have to take their fingers, put them in the right spot. And, when I was learning how to hold my sticks, like gym teacher literally had to take Scotch tape and wrap for a couple lessons until
do not move.
Yeah, right, exactly. Freaking cross handles. No,
so that's why I'm terrible at drums.
Drums.
I need to buy some Scotch tape.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just tape them up, man.
That's funny.
No, drums are, that's definitely hands-on. Guitar is a little bit more doable. If they know a little bit, that always helps. If they're an absolute beginner, again, it's kind of like you got to put their fingers, where sometimes, and you got to make sure their thumbs, down, all that.
And there were points where we didn't want to do, we don't want to promote poor technique either. So like we have students that are too young that don't have the strength to do things. We do offer, actually, we just piloted it and it's working really well. It's called Early Childhood Music Lessons. And it's essentially for playing for students that don't have the dexterity and strength to do piano or to play guitar, but it gives them the structure and the beginning foundations of understanding music because they're able to understand it. They can get the concepts. They just can't press the buttons, if that makes sense. So in the same way, we don't really, especially, for drums, like you kind of need a microphone system to even be able to hear stuff and broadcast it at the same time. And so that one we didn't really venture into except for on a drum pad, right? And then guitar and keyboard, we did pretty good. Sometimes we'd set up 2 cameras, like multiple media devices, and join the same Zoom, and you can split screens so you can see things at the same time. So anyways, we did our best with what we had, and I'm sure a lot of teachers out there did too. I saw a lot of stuff on Facebook for Fort Wayne teachers adapting to the challenges of the past few years, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure a lot of new ways of doing things came about just because of necessity. So let's see. Let me jump to something else. Another new topic here. I lost my place.
I have a question for you guys real quick. So you said that you've been working with a lot of like the early childhood music lessons. What age range do you guys usually teach? Like, is it like a pretty wide variety or like a high school?
Well, yes. I've had adults as old as, gosh, how old was he? 66 or 67.
He was in his late 50s, I think. He was 57, wasn't he?
No, he was late 60s because he was about to retire and he kept putting it off. Well, yeah, I had one guy, he was huge, like not like just like a big person, and his hands were so big he couldn't really fit his fingers like
on one
in
of the
between the piano keys,
Oh, wow.
So I was trying to work with him on it because he really enjoyed it, and he had arthritis and all this stuff. But anyways, he was probably my oldest one. He was a lot of fun. He called me Miss Amy and had like this polite persona to him that I don't really see. I don't think he was from Indiana. He was from somewhere else. But and then I've had, for early education, we can go as early as like 3.
Oh, wow.
Now it just depends, like a lot of times it doesn't look like, they almost see it as playtime, but that's where they start when it comes to teaching concepts, is playing. Right. So even with 3-year-olds, there's so much you can do that a lot of people, they never get that chance to do. And excuse me, that's where I see a lot of neglect. And I even see it in, politics now, that they're considering getting preschools going nationally because it is needed. That's a part of education that, like, I'm from Michigan, preschool's required. In Indiana, you don't have to show up till 1st grade. So there's like a big gap there of, I don't know, cultural development that a lot of kids really aren't getting right now, which is why I opened it up. It's not really for money. It's mostly for just.
It's a nonprofit.
So. Yeah. Well, if we're not quite yet, but one day, I want to add that.
Yeah. We'll be a non-for-profit, but.
Yeah. Anyways.
So what are your favorite parts about teaching lessons, and what is your least favorite part?
5-year-olds giggling is my favorite part about lesson, I think.
We have that issue here too.
Yeah. It's every episode.
That's hilarious. That is so funny. But I don't know, maybe seeing them finally get over the frustration of, I guess just like the challenge of starting a new instrument, and then starting to enjoy it. But sometimes, it's the beginning. Like I said, 5-year-olds giggling, they don't have any concept of doing things bad. I hate to say it, but it's such a good age to teach. And as they get older, they get more enjoying, I guess, or they enjoy it more, whatever.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Yeah, for sure. My favorite part, man, shoot, like the teaching part, the lesson side of it is very enjoyable. To see, kids make progress, or to see people discover a song that they didn't know for the first time, or just really to hear, what kids like to listen to, nowadays. And, kids, they'll like Nirvana, and the next person that comes in will really like ABBA and
Coco Melon.
Yeah. Or like something like way out there, and it's like, what? Who's this? But yeah, that's another great side of it. Even I don't mind so much the kids who come and they don't practice, or the kids who come and like just hate it and absolutely just whatever. Because I was that kid, and I see myself in those kids, and it just like, I'm just like, oh man, I feel you, brother. Like, makes, I don't know. Maybe it's a sadistic type of joy. Be like, how do you get yours?
It is another flip of perspective, like on the other side of the drum, or on the other side of the stand where you're teaching like that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
At the end, as far as like as dislikes, there's business is a business, and so you gotta like, keep track of finances, and you gotta like be on people for checks and stuff like that. And we usually don't have a big problem with that, but there's been a couple times where you have to really get on people, and that's nobody likes doing that. You kind of feel like the IRS or something. It's just like $20 a half hour. It's not like, it's like, that's super cheap.
Yeah,
guys.
We work with people too, though, which is one reason we have a flexible cancellation and rescheduling schedule, because there's just so much life and everyone's so busy that it's not fair to penalize everybody. And I think I've said this to people before, but like, everyone loves canceled plans because we're all so freaking busy, and it gives you time to breathe. And so if someone needs to cancel, that's fine. We'll reschedule it for another time, or we can double it up next time. So it's, I don't know. We try to be reasonable when it comes to that stuff.
Oh yeah. We're not like,
and we work with
Gestapos or anything like that.
Yeah.
We don't have any hitmen hired.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, the IRS, like, nah.
We're not like, we don't have any mafia. No.
Cult following. Nope.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think I have just like one more question or topic, unless you guys have some extra you want to add.
I have just one thing to note that like it's definitely admirable what you guys do, because like I know I've got hit up so many times about lessons. I'm sure you guys have too. Anybody who plays an instrument, somebody sees that and wants them to teach them. And I could never do it. I have not been taught professionally myself, so I would feel terrible passing anything that I've learned wrong on to somebody else.
But no, that's the thing. Like organic musicians, I'm so jealous of, because being professionally trained, you almost have like, wires that you have to follow, or like a cage. You don't. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean you can't pass it on. Your babies are already playing. You teach them how to draw and they're drawing. So it's just because you don't have a professional painter doesn't mean it can't learn art. You know what I mean? Like I'm jealous of Isaiah so much because of him. He's able to do 6 things at once just because, he wanted to. I was told to, Sorry, Topher, go ahead. I just want to encourage you.
That was good.
You can teach. It's kind of innate in musicians to teach others what we do,
Right. Like
you can't really get out of it. Not gonna lie.
I honestly don't think I could though.
Yeah, I mean, you have to because I know like you, like myself, you're a songwriter. You are crafting and taking songs and bringing them into a band. So like, whether you want to or not, and maybe you're not teaching someone how to play an instrument, but you have to teach. You have to teach people music if you are somebody who writes songs.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Bamboozled.
Yes.
Musicians.
He didn't even know it.
He teaches me music every freaking practice, dude.
Every practice, like
he's
that's
like,
great.
Here's a song, learn it real quick. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, okay, I'll try.
Yeah, I love that, Adam. I never really thought about,
it's so true.
Every practice that is you teaching, and it is just ingrained in what we do because you have to collaborate. You have to work together.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
That's a good word for collaborating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have a closing question for you guys, and because and just to kind of explain that this segment of our show it's kind of about what musicians or musically minded people do either as a main gig or a side gig, a way that people make some of their income in some way, right? So this question pertains to that, right? Any musicians that feel like, hey, I think I'd like to try teaching lessons or bringing music to other people. What would you tell someone that was thinking of starting a private teaching practice, do's and don'ts, good resources, or how you just kind of go about, man, how do I get some students and what kind of curriculum, just how do I get started?
Yeah. Well, I would definitely say, like, when I started, I worked at that nonprofit. So I went on Craigslist and put stuff up, but this was like, 10 years ago now that I did that in Fort Wayne.
So like Facebook would probably be like the best, like
that's what I started on too.
Like put your music lessons. If you want to, I want to teach guitar, put yourself up on music lessons.
But,
all right. Oh, sorry, Amy.
No, it's okay. I guess my point about that is I just needed to start small. So I kind of did some low cost lessons to some people I met on Craigslist and on Facebook, and I got referred. And then I think it was like after 6 months, I took my price up, and then I got some more students. And then after I had like a steady studio, I was able to take the price up again. And I kind of just layered it to build a studio. And in Fort Wayne, because every city you move to, you have to basically get a whole new, reputation and rapport and students to come into you. And so, yeah, I'd say just get online. And there's honestly recently with COVID, Facebook groups of private lesson teachers and private piano teachers. I see them sharing software. all kinds of tips. We do have a curriculum that we use it's very fundamentally based with beginning an instrument the right way.
Mhm.
We really try to have fun, we're not always just playing Bach or anything.
Yeah, we mix in a good portion of the kids' music too.
Which is a necessity,
hear,
definitely, if you're going to teach the kids.
Things from video games, like all the time. Like one of my kids learned the theme from Naruto. He just like showed up one day and was like, "Hey, I can play this," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It blew my mind.
Wasn't perfect, like
it was,
a lot.
It was pretty good though.
Yeah,
I was like, "Holy cow!"
So
this guy's 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
It's okay. Students can do a lot, and that's definitely a big motivator. I think I said earlier, bribing them. Unfortunately, it's you got to teach them to be, they want to be awarded for their hard work, because if you don't have performances or something to motivate them, kids are motivated by all kinds of different things.
They absolutely love that when we had recitals and stuff.
Oh, yeah. And even adults, I don't mean it like a cheesy reward, but we'll do some stuff too to celebrate when we meet things. So I don't know, I guess just engaging with the people that you have, and then word of mouth gets around, and then eventually you'll have enough security if you want to start a studio. Starting an LLC was so easy, literally. It's only like 3 formalities. And then when your studio gets big enough, if you want to, you just you have another teacher with you. I had a couple other teachers before, and I changed the name from Fort Wayne Piano to Fort Wayne Piano and Guitar. And we ran it from our home, and it was really just kind of grassroots from a Craigslist ad, that I put out there, and we just kept building on it, if that makes any sense. Oh, yeah. And that's how I got Isaiah into this.
Yeah,
I needed another teacher.
I mean, if you think about, Fort Wayne, and you think about music lessons, there's Sweetwater, and Sweetwater's great, but if that's not an option for you, if you can't afford that, where are you going to go? And there's not a lot of options in Fort Wayne. Or there didn't used to be. There's probably a lot more now than there was.
Yeah.
But I mean,
affordable options.
Affordable options, I guess, is what we're looking for.
Kind of one of the places we go is we're not a big corporate overhead type, business. So we're able to cater to those people that can't afford the 15-week commitment at Sweetwater. So, if you are starting a new studio, you may likely have a niche of people that you can cater to. That could be your draw. That's our flexibility with being able to go to homes and stuff, is a lot of teachers aren't willing to do that.
Right.
But we understand when you have like 4 kids or 3 kids, how are you supposed to give private instruction for a half hour with 4 kids in your car? Like, it's just, I don't know. I guess we understand life a little bit better, which is why we have that draw. But every studio is going to have their own vision and incentive for what they want to build and what community they want to make. A lot of private studios in Fort Wayne are just 100% formal technique. You're not really going, I don't know. I honestly kind of don't like it. It's almost like the high nose breed of teaching. I was thinking highbrow, not high nose. But then you have School of Rock, which is freaking awesome. I have students that take lessons from me, and then they go to School of Rock and they rock out. Right. And it's like, organic and fun, and they don't have to worry about reading music or any of the stuff that, anyways, I'm talking too much, but
no, you bring up all kinds of good points in there. I mean, everybody learns a different way, and a lot of people want to learn, not everybody wants to learn how to sit down and play, sheet music of Bach or Mozart, and some people just want to have fun enjoying what they play.
Well, I think we're coming up on the end of this, y'all. Is there anything you want to plug, or you want to any projects you got going on? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, we've been working with Heartbreak Productions, right? Heartbreak Productions. I'm saying it right.
Heartache.
Oh, darn it!
That's okay.
I can't see. Heartache Productions. We're gonna be releasing 2 singles once we're finished recording it for Hittin' and Reckless for the Paper Heart, which is the band we're in, and Topher's in. And we have one more member named Steve. And then I think, when is our next show? We have one in December, right?
We've got a Christmas show coming up.
When is that,
This
Topher?
episode will come out before that, even, I think.
December 11th.
December 11th.
Baker
So if you're feeling jolly, bring the Yuletide cheer and check us out.
Yeah.
So
11th.
much fun.
Yeah, Leah and I will be there.
Where is it at again? Just, I didn't.
Baker Street Center. It used to be C to G, but it changed names.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
So we want to thank Amy and Isaiah again for talking to us today from Fort Wayne Piano and Guitar. And we will have a link down here in the description for you guys. So if you are in the Fort Wayne area, you can reach out to them if you're interested in having one of your kids take lessons, or you want to take some yourself. And thank you guys again for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
So that's it for this week's episode. Any last minute plugs from you, gentlemen?
Nope.
Well,
No.
They already plugged your show, so yeah.
Yeah.
Next week, we're hoping to have a special interview, but we won't spill the beans on it until that interview has been recorded.
And we also have another interview with Eddie Rifkind, the maker of the recently famed Karen pedal. I have one on my pedal board, so I'm excited to talk to him.
Hey everybody, Chris here. Unfortunately, our musical guest this week, we ran into some scheduling problems. So instead, we will be featuring our very own, the amazing, the talented Mr. Topher Beyer. And I'm hoping that I will have the audio on both the YouTube and the audio podcast this week. So enjoy! Thanks for joining us on Wood, Wire, and Watts. Until next time, tune up!
Crank the volume.
Let it rip.
Things are starting to get better. Makes me so uncomfortable when I'm not fighting for my future. Makes me think about my past. I grew up on the south side of town. I watched a couple decades of change. They tore down the Southtown Mall. They built a Walmart in its place. I guess it's just a sign of the times. Everyone is moving away. There's no money for the mom and pops. We got plenty of fast food chains building up the downtown scene. We got art and food and boutiques, but it looks like a ghost town. While I'm driving down South Anthony, oh, things are starting to get better. Sometimes better's not the best thing. Sometimes many will pay the price, so if you can have something nice. Guess you could say I'm doing okay, raising my family on a quiet street, making music with my friends every day, while I'm working 40 hours a week, bounce from one thing to another. I never seem to get any sleep. It feels like the wells run dry. Maybe I'm just in too deep. Everyone needs something from me. I don't got a lot left for myself. Just wanna be there for my family. And I don't need to live for nobody else. Oh, things are starting to get better. Sometimes better's not the best thing. Sometimes many will pay the price. So if you can have something nice, and I'll make some changes of my own, 'cause no one's gonna do it for me. I'll lay my worries to rest and appreciate the air in my chest. Things are starting to get better. It makes me so uncomfortable, and I'm not fighting for my future. It makes me think about my past.